Welcome to another podcast.
You made
another
it.
One named Coram Deo.
Congratulations.
Yes. This is the Coram Deo podcast. My name is Pastor Samuel. This is our main man, Philip.
Main man, Philip.
Well, my main man, Philip. You'll have to ask if he can be your main man. I don't know.
Odds are it's yes. But
I thought it was the main man, Philip.
Sure.
No.
Maybe?
No.
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on
I could
it depends on the episode.
Put that in asterisk.
And this
like,
is Tabitha.
only Samuel's main man, Philip.
This is Tabitha, our amazing computer person and contributor to Coram Deo podcast. And we are still on this purity kick because it's important, everybody. I hope that is
Week 4.
What has come through our podcasts. I think one of them was just a rambling episode.
It absolutely was.
We've been talking about this. It is the last week we will be talking about it. And I was just saying praise the Lord because not that I don't like talking about this subject, but some of these kids, man, they do not want to be here for this.
I mean,
but today, our last subject that I decided to hit on, because we hit some pretty big subjects.
Yes.
Where, like a 9 and 10-year-old, even a 15-year-old may or may not care about, although I'm thinking it's increasingly hard to not care about. Most of these kids are being confronted with all of these issues, like trans stuff, all of this pornography things. Like, I think, it's pretty prevalent. So if they don't know about it now, they will in like a year tops. Yeah. But I wanted to bring it down to a practical level of boundaries and when is actually a good time to start a relationship. I would like to open the floor to our contributors. Particularly, my main man, Philip.
Good.
Well, I think it's funny because I think in every church setting, when it comes to like dating and when is it ready?
When is it?
When is it?
When are you ready?
What are we doing? What's going on here? It's always a touchy subject because like, oh, it's not in the Bible. That means it's wrong. So it's like as we overthink things.
Yes.
Right.
And so we just like,
we a lot of
just
times want it to be literally written
Yeah,
down
we want
word
it
for word.
step by step. 18 is when you can start dating, and this is why.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like we try and find the biblical definitions. Like, oh, okay, we can't. Let's make our own Bible about it.
Yeah.
It's so weird because then
we become legalistic about it.
Right. And then that can form like family traditions and just stuff like that. And then because of that, because of our own, like our hearts are like the ones that are like designing these rules and these traditions. It ends up being messy anyways.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, I followed all the steps. What happened?
Yeah.
They're yours, bro.
Yeah.
So
they were yours, so you could break them,
Right.
and there's no there's consequences, but there's not the consequence that you wanted.
right. Like you blind yourself to what could and will inevitably happen because you're following your own you're following your own heart.
Worst advice ever.
All right, don't follow your heart, guys.
Don't.
I know Disney says it all the time.
Everyone says it all the time.
So wrong.
Follow your
Like,
heart.
stop.
Because when people say that, they're not saying you're not following the organ in your chest. You're following your feelings, which change every 5
Like
seconds.
if you literally follow your heart, you just stand still.
Yeah.
You do nothing.
You'd be like, dun, dun,
Be like,
party. Yeah, but what we're really saying is follow your feelings, and like that's going to change from day to day. Hence why you have kids who think that they're a guy one week and then their
gender's fluid.
They're a woman next week, and then the next week they're a pansexual, whatever that means. I don't understand what a cooking utensil has to do with it. But.
Stop.
yeah.
I'm starving at this point.
Actually,
So.
I am. Ever since Pastor mentioned Mexican food, I couldn't stop thinking about tacos.
And you called me a taco.
I really
Sorry.
want French fries right now.
Wow, I think all of you are pregnant. It's funny because you can't be pregnant, and you definitely are not
can't
pregnant.
be pregnant.
Purity month, everyone. Okay, but you were saying important
What
things.
was I saying?
About
Sorry.
like defining when,
Right,
like as
right.
Christians, we
Defining
have
when, yeah.
like all of these rules that we make up.
And I love what you have, like what like
The
not your
criteria.
rules, but like like your organization to
Yeah.
when is the right time. Like
It was good.
like, do you have money? Do you have a job? Do you have
Yeah.
a vehicle? Do you have a good relationship with your parents? Good
Yeah.
relationship with your friend, mentors?
Yeah,
And
like-
if you don't have a good relationship with your parents and can't, then
Right.
you need to find
Right.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Like that especially with me, like that's super important because like
Yeah.
sadly it's not often that you can have good relationship with your parents. Some
Right.
like sometimes either they're not there or they just can't.
yeah.
Like
They're
just-
emotionally
Unavailable.
not available.
Yeah.
But even if you do, there's a good, what am I trying to say? Wow, English. It is a good idea to have more than one mother and father figure to go to.
Yes, it's true.
Because I don't know if you know this, but moms and dads are actually humans and they sometimes have bad days and they can't always give you advice.
Or they're not actually like, they don't know how to do that part well.
Yeah.
And so you find someone who does do that well.
Right. Good.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just love that because like it's so simple. It's so
Yes.
simple.
It actually is simple.
Yeah. It like we don't need to overcomplicate it. We don't need to find the secret formula to when is the right time to date. Like it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like you have to be financially stable before you can have children. And like you should have that.
Well, that's like way down the line.
Right. But I think that's what people are like. There's two camps. People that have no rules, you can date whenever you want and however you want. And then there's people that are like, you can't even think about dating until you have $100,000 in your savings account and can pay for all the children that you want.
That camp specifically is what you were talking about with Christian colleges. Hey, you want to go out for coffee? I'm not going to marry you, bro.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
There's so many extremes. So,
Yeah.
what I didn't actually get into, because I feel like a lot of our kids are too young for this conversation, but like the world has really messed up dating to the point where like if you don't have sex on the first date, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Like, so I think one of the first purity things we did, I was shocked at the amount of activity there was within the youth group. Of like, there was not a child in that group that had not seen pornography, who had not some kind of sexual activity, whether that be masturbation or actually having sex with somebody. Like every single person who was there.
Yeah. There was a 12-year-old there.
Yeah. So like I was shocked. So the world, they have no rules. If like there's something wrong with you if you're not active. If you're not like dating somebody, like there's something wrong with you. And you could do whatever you want. It's all open. It's all free game. And if you're actually not having sex, you're weird. Like something's wrong with you. Like why not? And it's like, that's just terrible. So, but it's not been this bad in the world before. I feel like it's been very progressive to this point. Whereas Christianity has been doing it terribly for a long
Right.
long time. Because there's all of these camps, these like, oh, we don't date, we court. What's the difference? Okay, like
The word.
so you have them come over to the house. Great, yeah, cool. And they have a chaperone. All right, there's a permanent third wheel. Cool, whatever. It's still dating.
Poor guy.
However you want. Yeah, like that's super awkward. So you don't trust them enough to send them out in public I feel like there's a problem there. If you don't trust your daughter or your son to go out in public to
a
restaurant alone, you've already failed. If you don't have enough relational trust with that, or like, wow, there's something wrong with that picture, okay? But like what he was alluding to was now we have Christian girls and guys who don't know how to date at all.
Yeah.
Because it's just been no. And now you're 18, go figure it out. Don't have sex.
And it's so high stakes. It's like, it's that
Save
one
yourself.
of the kids asked me last week was like, do you believe in a soulmate? Like one soulmate.
Yeah.
It's like this whole thing, like you can only find one person that if you marry, if they're not your soulmate, then you messed up and you married the wrong person. And like so you can't go on dates until you can go on dates. So if you go on a date with that one person, then you have to marry that person.
Yes.
You can't just get to know a freaking person.
Yeah. And so it becomes
Put that on a shirt. Get to know a freaking person.
so it becomes like this weird thing of like, if I go on this date, I've somehow tainted my purity.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I didn't realize purity was so fragile.
Yeah.
So like there's this fragile purity that people have. There's this like it's a very cosmetic
There's
purity.
like a difference between true purity and purity culture.
Yes.
Because purity culture says there's only one person for you in the entire planet. And
which is true. Because when you choose that person, then that person
that's your only
becomes
person. But
that
there's
only
like
person.
all these people that are good options, and there could be one great option, there could be 5 great options. You just have to make the decision.
Yes.
But I'm like, so there's this pressure of like, okay, I have to make sure this is the great person, and I have to know before the first date.
Yeah.
Because if I go on a date with them and it's not right, then I am sinning,
Yes.
and I have to go get cleaned up.
I have now crossed a boundary with somebody else's husband or wife. And
Listen,
it's like, yo, I just wanted you to go coffee. Like the amount of freak out that girls would have in ministry school if some guy asked them out for coffee, it was just level 10 drama.
okay, I just want to say
And-
I lived in ministry school, that city for 6 years, and I was asked out one time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm like the best looking human on the planet, but I'm just saying there was 3,000 people on rotation in my age range, and I was asked out one time.
It's pretty bad. I was like, I asked girls out, and it was like a rarity that actually happened.
Absolutely.
But I didn't have this weird idea. Like, I kind of broke out of that idea, like that it means something. So there has to be like what I said today. There has to be, you're going on dates and you're getting to know this person. There's no strings attached. You could say no to the next date. You're not in a relationship. You're going on dates. And in this time, somebody else can actually ask you on a date.
And you can go.
And you can go.
And then you can go on a date with the other guy again.
And you can go on a date with the other person. You're not in a relationship. No one's actually saying that we're pursuing a deeper relationship. Because what happens is we only have that context of like, okay, we're in a relationship.
All or nothing.
Which puts the stakes so high that no one can discover. And you can go on dates with somebody and that person's amazing and you're amazing and like they're beautiful and I'm beautiful and they love the Lord and I love the Lord, and you know what? They're just not the one. And that's okay. That there doesn't have to be any other reason of like, actually, you know what? Like, I think you're amazing, but I just don't think I don't think we're gonna go anywhere with this.
Look at it like a job interview. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
You see something that you want to like. Hey, I can sell cars or do something like that. Like, yeah, like I can do that. So
Yeah.
you go for the interview. Okay?
Yeah.
The boss is like, oh yeah, I mean, here's your salary. He's like, oh, things are looking good. Things are looking
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And then let's say, oh, but you have to work Sundays. It's like, oh, I gotta miss church. Ah, well, I'm already in the interview.
Yeah.
I'm already committed.
Yeah.
So like, no, like that
can
sounds
say no.
stupid, right?
Yeah.
Like same for dating. Like,
Right.
oh, you like
You
pugs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Red
a deal
flag.
breaker. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's deal breaker for me. I hate pugs. I would literally punt a pug. Like,
You
okay, I'm
wouldn't.
against
I
animal
just
abuse.
Like
Pugs
the
aren't
fact that
animals.
The punt the pug. That sounds like something that should exist.
I
it
feel like
should.
you should make an
Punt the pug.
iPhone game. And you would make a lot of
yes.
Punt
money. You
the
would
pug
make a
game.
lot of money.
Oh, but PETA will be after me.
know what?
Anyway,
Don't you
Anywho.
like pita
Anyway,
chips? I love pita
that is
chips.
exactly right. Like there has to be the option, and it doesn't have to be that person's terrible. And this, like, I'm a
There doesn't
terrible
have to be a
person.
bad guy.
There doesn't have to be a bad guy, and you like it can still suck if you're on the other end of that and being like, oh, but you know what? There's actually a better person out there then.
I feel like the mindset shift is a good idea. I was going to say should be or needs to be, but it's a great idea to shift your mind and our culture from this is a marriage potential to do I want to continue being friends with this person on a deeper level? Because
I mean, it's actually, for me, the dates, going on dates is that time. of
Right.
being like, are you having a good time? Is this going anywhere?
Yes.
And that's when you discover, oh, I think this is actually,
just friends.
or I'm just friends, or, oh, I actually really like you.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
what I'm
going
meaning
somewhere.
because
Yeah.
I think in Christian culture,
Mhm.
it's all okay. So in Christian culture, it's all you need to find your husband or your wife. And so everyone's a potential husband or wife.
Yeah.
And so that gets really awkward.
Right.
And so you're not actually getting to know
The person.
the person to get to know the person. You're getting to know the person
right.
under this pretense.
Yeah.
Where then it's like, okay, well, I'm never going to talk to you again.
Right.
Well, you can be friends with people. It's okay.
Yes.
And then there's the world version where it's like, if we go on a date, then I'm giving everything I am to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing in a different package.
Yeah. Yep. It's true.
You go on a date and you either find out, oh, I want to know this person just by themselves, or like, no, they're more better in a group setting.
Exactly. Like
Totally.
it honestly doesn't. I don't think it takes that many dates to figure it out. Like, if you're like on your 15th date, like, bro, that's
Cut it off.
and you don't
Dating
know
for more than a year.
You don't know. You don't know. Like as a guy, you don't know by. For me, I'm like it's very quick. Like if you don't know by like 3 or 4 dates, and you're just going on dates, then it's probably not. It's probably not. It's probably not the one. 15 dates. That's a lot of dates. That's 3 months. You can't go on more than one date in a week. That's just weird, right? Like, if you go on a date on Sunday, you're not going to go on a date on Wednesday. No one has time for that. So that would be 3 months. 3 months time, you don't know if you actually want to be in a deeper relationship with that person. Sorry.
You probably don't.
No, you don't.
Like a no decision is usually a decision.
Yes. Like if you would rather stay home and play video games than go hang out with your girlfriend, then that is a sign to you that you don't love this person. But on an even more practical level, this is like, okay, you're ready to date level. For people who are discovering, who are in that process, who are in high school, who are younger than that, because we have all kinds in this world. So what you were bringing up was, I put the parameters out there, the ideas out there. Like, So indicators that you're ready to actually start dating. 1, you have a good, honest, open relationship with your parents. You talk to them about purity. You talk to them about sexuality. You talk about when you mess up. You talk about your friendships. You're not hiding things from them. You actually have a good relationship with your parents.
Yeah.
You have a good relationship with your siblings. You're honoring them. You're friendly with them. You have like good times with them. That's a good indication. You have friends, and you have open, honest relationship with your friends. You're not being led by your friends. You have your own independence. You're not codependent with anybody. And you can make decisions for yourself, and you're secure in who you are. Okay? And you have a job. You have money. Because listen, you ain't taking a girl to McDonald's. And you're not having your mommy and your daddy drive you.
Take her to Maplewood Meats.
Take her to Maplewood Meats. Make her pick her steak. That will tell you a lot about a woman right there.
Prime New York.
And so these are some indicators. I don't know. Did I have any more? I feel like I had
Yeah.
more.
You had more.
Let me see. I wrote it down.
I forgot to write it down. No, I did write it down.
Friends, are you self-aware? No,
Yeah.
like what are your principles?
Yes.
What do you like? What do you not like?
Yes.
What do you need to work on? What, like all
Yeah.
of those types of things.
Yeah. Do you have a purity plan? And
Do you
you're
have a purity
talking
plan?
with your community about that. Are you in community? So are you in a healthy community? Are you isolated? And if you're codependent with somebody, I would say you're not ready for a relationship because you're just going to transfer that codependency to that person.
Yeah.
And codependency is really destructive in every form because
any
you are not
relationship.
in any relationship because you're dependent on that person for your comfort, for your security, for your opinions. And so that gets extremely messy and destructive very quickly.
Because you've actually made them your God.
Yeah, because they are in the God spot. And so you're wanting to please them. So your principles, what you want, what you desire, can easily and very quickly go to the wayside. And then you can give in to all kinds of things. And so those are parameters. So I said, listen, a lot of Christians, a lot of people have opinions that it's like an age. And I said, it's not about an age, it's about relational level and a maturity level. And so, like I can't give you a hard, fast rule on that because I've met 25-year-olds who are not ready relational level and they're not ready maturity level because actually those things are very hard to separate. A mature person will have a very good relational level, and a relational person who has a high relational level with those important people are going to be a mature person. So they actually lend strength to each other. And so you can be a very mature, so this is the kicker, you can be a very mature person, a highly relational person, and you have great relationship with your parents and your siblings and your friends, but you don't have a job and you don't have money and you can't drive. You're not ready for a relationship. You can have money and you can have a job and you can actually have great friends and all that, but you're actually not open and honest with important things. And you're not relational in that way, and you're not mature. Like you're the guy making a mess everywhere. You're the one acting a fool. You're not ready for a relationship. It's actually a big responsibility. It's a different type of relationship than just being a bro and you're a great friend. There's a big difference. You have to have a higher capacity, a higher level of maturity for those things to actually be really good. Because like I said, those kind of relationships are amplifiers and it amplifies everything. So you'll have really, really high highs and really, really low lows. And if you don't have the maturity and emotional awareness and relational capacity to handle those highs and lows, they will just destroy you and you will make big mistakes. You will have sex when you should not have sex, basically. You will hurt somebody when you didn't mean to hurt somebody, but because you can't handle the range of emotions and responsibility and the weight of actually somebody depending on you in that deep level of relationship, it will hurt you and it will hurt that person.
Yep.
And something else really important that we talked about was boundaries with the opposite sex. Because of technology being so readily available, that people listen. You texting a girl, you texting a boy, it's 11:30 at night. Stupid.
Well, tell them the thing that you told me when I was acting a fool. Tell them, would you? Okay, so this is.
Oh yeah, would you? Okay, so this is where I think the rubber meets the road. If your friend of the opposite sex came to your house at 11:30 at night, and you answer the door, and would you let them in and invite them into your bedroom and have a conversation?
Nah, bro, I'm in my monkey ninja PJs at that moment.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
It's quite comfortable.
why is it okay just because they're not physically there, they're emotionally there?
Yeah.
Why is that okay for you to invite them into that? It may not be physical, but it's an emotional intimacy level that they aren't ready for and you're not ready for. There is no construct. There's no structure to this relationship, but they're at a level of intimacy that no one actually said.
And to add to that fact, the scientific fact that you mentioned, that you are dumb when it's late. Like,
I was going to mention
your
that.
tiredness
Yes.
makes you dumb. I'm a night owl, okay? My bedtime is 12 to 12:30. Even with that fact, me being a night owl, I am dreadfully stupid at that time.
Yeah.
Like, just this past couple of nights, what was I doing? I was watching my show, and I was trying to, I think I was scrolling through Instagram trying to find like memes to send to you later. And like, I was just, I don't even remember what I was doing, but like, I was like trying to like save a meme, and like, I literally forgot how to do it. Like, I was like, okay, I guess.
To be fair, if you were on Instagram, they recently changed it.
They did, but still, I should be able to figure out how to save a meme on Instagram. Okay, I couldn't for the life of me. I was like, okay, I'm putting my phone down. I gotta go to bed, man. I'm tired, and
you
it's
are
like
cut off.
like, and like that's it. It's so true. And then trying to balance. That was me trying to balance that with myself.
Right.
With myself.
Yes.
Imagine another person like that. It's impossible.
Right.
And then
it's
you
impossible.
add in the fact
Attraction
that you are
hormones.
attracted to the opposite sex. Listen, if you're texting, if you're messaging someone of the opposite sex daily, multiple times a day, you are not just friends. You are now friend dating. Everyone needs to hear this. 25-year-olds need to hear this. Listen, if you are texting a female or a male, the opposite sex, that much, I said this at youth group, my dudes, what friend do you text that much? Show me a male friend that you text that much.
I don't even text my sister that much.
You don't have anyone. You don't text your mama that much. You don't text your daddy that much. You don't text your best friend that much.
You don't even text yourself that much.
You don't. That's not real. And girls, honestly, you don't text each other that much either. You do have conversations often, but you don't do it like multiple times a day, every day.
Okay.
Late at night.
The most conversation that I have with people on the phone is my sister Katie, and the most conversation that is funny videos of dogs on Instagram. That's
I'm talking
the most
about like teenage
conversation.
girls or like younger girls.
That's
And there's
fair.
there's a range.
That's
but
true.
you do not do it daily, day in and day out.
Like your phone is glued to your hip because they're going to
because
text
they might text
you.
you. That's just not real. We need to be honest about that and have actual boundaries with that, because we give it a pass because it's technology and it's not physical and it's not sexual, but it's emotionally attaching to a person.
Yep.
And so it's very hard to manage that. And then you're inviting that person into spaces in your heart and in your emotions that you know, under any other pretense would not do so.
Yep.
Like everyone would be like, oh, no, you can't come inside. It's 11 o'clock. That's a dumb idea. Well, you're letting them inside. You're letting them inside. And you're like, dude, okay, let's just pretend that messaging was all in real life. So this girl's coming over 3-4 times a day.
God.
Yeah, you're dating.
Yeah.
You're dating.
You're basically married at this point because dating people don't even do
Dating
that.
people don't even do that. So you can't really, I mean, like, oh, we're just best friends. We're best friends. We're just best friends. It's not. Well, you might think you're just friends.
Somebody in that relationship has more than just friend feelings.
Yes.
Because even somebody brought up, like, well, I have gay best friends that I text all the time. Okay, well,
Sure.
somebody is attracted to somebody. Okay?
Yes.
Because what you're saying, biologically,
Yes.
male people are attracted to female people. And biologically, female people are attracted to male people.
Yeah.
Even if you're not conscious of it, somebody is attracted to somebody if you're constantly communicating
Well,
with them.
and what I said was, okay, so we actually talked about gender and homosexuality, and I don't have any hatred. I don't have anything that I would want harm on somebody who is struggling with gender dysphoria or whatever, or homosexuality. But we laid it out like, this is not healthy. This is not normal. This is not good for you. Why are you allowing that person that level of intimacy if
Yeah.
you know they're suffering from that kind of confusion or lifestyle? They're choosing that. Or whatever, they're not choosing it. That's who they
They're
are. If that's what you want to
partnering with
believe,
it or whatever.
which is just, it's not true. That you weren't made that way, because that is actually stating that God made a mistake. But those people don't believe in God, so then it's okay. So that's the whole agenda right there. But we believe in God. So they believe that God made a mistake. They're living a lifestyle that goes against God's nature, God's design. Why are we allowing that person that level of intimacy in our life? So you have a gay best friend. Okay. But you shouldn't be messaging them all the time. You shouldn't be conversing with them about important things like that, or allowing that to be somebody you depend on. That would be like an 80% of people, not your 20% close people.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be someone you can be friends with. You can be friends with. I've worked with gay people. I worked in retail, man. Like, half the dudes were gay.
Yeah.
And they were all super funny, super great people. Laughed a bunch, made great jokes. It was fine. Like, I didn't have anything against them. You know, they like ask me questions. I'm like, dude, do I agree with your lifestyle? No, but I don't agree with a lot of people's lifestyle. So
Yeah.
whatever, man. Like, do I want something else for you? Yeah, but that's not me. That's not my job. If you want to talk about it, sure. But the point is, you're allowing that level of intimacy with somebody you don't agree with. You don't actually want them to influence you in basically any of those forms, right? So another great point, and just boundaries in general. Like, do you want that person in that level of intimacy?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I think the statement that you had, I loved. It said, I want to increase what the Lord is doing in their lives for marriage. But I feel like that
that goes into any relationship, actually. And importantly, I didn't get to say this at youth group, but you want to actually be able to be a gift
Yes.
in
I love
that
that.
relationship. You want to be able to be a gift, and you want, if this doesn't work out, you want to leave that person better off than at the beginning. So, like, are you actually able to be a gift? Are you able to relationally be a gift? Are you able to, if this doesn't work out, are you able to not be resentful to this person? Are you able to not feel like rejected and that you're just not worth anything? Because that's a potential danger when you're risking in a relationship like that.
Yeah.
Are you going to be mature enough for all of that? Are you going to be able to hold the capacity? Are you going to be able to bless that person and see what the Lord wants to do in their life and partner with that without any weird sexual attachment, without any weird strings attached, without any lust, without any selfishness? And when you're at that level, it's actually a lot more fun because it's not this high stakes, oh, are they going to choose me? It's like, oh, I actually get to partner with the Lord. And if this doesn't work out, you know what? I actually help them. I actually helped them get further along in life. And we had fun. And we got to do some cool stuff. And you know what? We're both better off that we did this. It's not like this tragic story of like this rejection and, oh, I made this big mess.
Yep.
So it can actually be really beneficial when you have those things in place and when you're honest with yourself and you have this self-awareness that we've all been talking about, that we can become gifts to each other and we can later on in life be like, you know what? Like I have no shame about that. It actually led me to the right person.
Yeah.
And they helped me get there. They helped me discover, oh, this is what I want in a wife and this is what I want in a husband or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, even just in friendships, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be romantic either.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And that's really important because a lot of times, a lot of friendships are actually just codependent or they have something that we want and it's usury, you know, or it's
or I have a need and this person's available.
Right, I have a need and it's available. Most friendships actually are just, it's a situation that's, and you're available. Like think about all the, I mean, like growing up, you're stuck in
proximity.
It's proximity. It has nothing to do, and it's like, oh, we have this in common, I guess.
Well,
like,
I think
we have
back
to be together.
To being in like elementary school when I went to public school, and like most of the people that I was friends with, I don't think I actually would have ever been friends with them.
Right.
And the people that I thought I would be friends with because I went to church with them, realized I never should have been friends with.
Right.
So like,
yeah.
You just realize, like, most of your life, like, how many times have you left a job and you were like, oh, I'll come back and visit, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna miss you, like, I'll come visit, I'll let me know where you know. No, you've never seen them again. Maybe once when you picked up your last last check. That's the last time you saw them.
Right.
Unless you live in Wisconsin and go to Quick Trip, then you see them.
Because Quick Trip is a lifestyle.
It's Quick Trip is a meeting place.
It's not just a gas station.
And or you're like, you like their posts on Facebook, so that counts.
Yeah.
So those are awkward.
Don't get me into social media, man.
Yeah.
Don't even.
We can
digress really quickly, but it's very true because honestly, actual friendships and relationship take more work than people really want to talk about or realize.
You cannot have, I would say you cannot have 10 close friends. I feel like that would be like 10 close friends.
I think you could if you were single. And you had all the time in the world.
Maybe if you lived in a city.
And you choose. So the problem is you actually have to choose those people and other things have to fall away.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if like, can you choose 10 people in like at the same time, in the same era, like the same
era?
year.
What are you talking about?
The same era of your life.
Like every 100 years?
No, in the era of your life. So let's say singleness.
Yeah.
Can you choose 10 people that you can benefit and that are going to benefit you?
Well, it depends on what you mean by level of closeness, I think.
That's what I'm saying. Like you close knit, like the first ring
I think you can have a first ring of close friends, but like you're gonna have like a couple buddies you're a lot closer with.
I guess that would be the second ring then. That's,
Okay.
I guess we're talking about different things.
Sure. Yeah. But
that's
like,
what I'm saying. You can't have that know everything about you and your everyday life. 10 people, that's a lot of people to relay things
well,
to.
I mean, it depends. So it depends on how long you've been friends and how long
That's
you've
true.
chosen to be friends and
That's
chosen to
true.
be in community. But in reality, our modern world does not have the capacity for that level of relationship.
I don't think we've been modeled that even in the church. It's really rare to see people, even leaders, that have led for more than 5 years together. It's really, 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 really rare. Because if you've
You
well,
sounded very, very Mexican just then.
thank you.
Somebody gonna come kiss your cheek?
Right here. But like
That was an inside joke. Maybe you need to go back and listen to that rambling podcast and you'll find it there.
was that where it was?
Yes.
I don't think
believe
it's
so.
posted yet.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Well,
No, it is. Yeah, I
probably
lied to
should
you.
be posted before this one.
Anyway, I think it's rare to see even Christian leaders that have chosen each other in
Yes.
hard times, in disagreements, in offense,
Right.
to continue fighting for that relationship. It's so rare. I don't see it very often. And
So most people are not ready for relationships.
and they are in them.
And they are in them.
Yeah. So like just even Bethel, because that's where I went to school. They've been together for decades.
Well, some of the leaders.
The main or the old main leaders, I guess they're not.
The old main leaders. They're not that old.
They're not the... Okay, anyway. Bill Johnson and Chris Valentin have been in relationship for at least 20 years. I think it's longer now.
I think
like
it's a lot
30 or
longer
40,
than that.
right?
Yeah.
And like you have to know that somebody somewhere in that time period was mad at the other one. You have to know that. I just know. First of all, most of the time it was probably Chris. Okay. But like that's super. I don't even know if I can pull out of my memory another leader
Yeah.
that has decided these are my people,
Right.
whether I'm enjoying what they're talking about right now and what they're acting like right now or not.
Right. And I think that's just that's a total society thing. I
Right.
think like everything's very nomadic at this point. Like
Yes.
people don't even stay at jobs that long
No.
anymore. Like people our age don't stay at jobs.
2 years tops.
Yeah, and they change places. Where like my parents'
Yeah.
they had one job for like their whole life. And so they stayed in that town, they stayed in relationship with people, and somewhere along the line it's changed, and and somewhere with that, I mean, let's be real though, the grandparents weren't really super great at being open and honest and
No.
talking about all those things, but at least they had long-lasting community.
Yeah, they had a dedication.
Yes, they said no to things. We just don't like to say no to things. We like to be open to everything, and we're gonna go here and we're gonna go there, but then you're never actually in community, and then you're never actually super safe to be in a committed relationship with, because people don't know you and aren't able to call you out on stuff. Which is why, I mean, I have friends who went to ministry school. I know a bunch of people who went to ministry school, left ministry school, and now have babies outside of marriage because they didn't have a community around them that could call them out on something. Like, hey, they could call them out before this was getting to that point. Like, you don't just end up pregnant. You don't end up you don't end up just getting someone pregnant.
Ooh, are you married?
And so
Well,
I was like at youth group. I was like, listen, it's a maturity level, it's a relational level, which means basically almost none of you will be ready for this.
Honestly,
not,
none of them.
Not in high school, and it's not your fault necessarily, and it's not your parents' fault necessarily. It's society's fault. We don't do this well.
And brain development. I mean,
see, my point is this: I can't say that a 16-year-old is ready or not ready. I have to know what their relationship with their parents are first. And I need to know their maturity level. Do your parents trust you, and do you want to keep your parents' trust? Are you going to be open and honest with them? Do you care about their heart if you cross the line? Because I said this to the kids too, like, okay, a guy you're interested in, how does he treat his mother? Is he rude? Is he saying hurtful things? Is he demeaning to her? Well, if you keep going with this guy, he's going to end up doing the same thing to you. Yeah. Guys, is this girl willing to cross all these lines, disrespectful to her father, doesn't care about what his opinions are? Well, she's going to do the same thing to you and cross all these lines and not care. And so
I would actually say even, like, that's the intimate relationships that those people are having. But I would say even outside of that, how do they treat people around in school?
Yeah, and well, that's why I said their relationship with their siblings too, and their friendships.
I'm just saying even strangers, because from experience, you can think you know somebody really well, and they treat you with respect, they treat their family with respect, but it's almost like the true self is unmasked when they're talking to someone who's not in their circle. If they don't respect humans, there's going to be a point in your relationship that they do not respect you.
Yes.
If they are not kind to humans, there is going to be a point in your relationship that they are not kind to you. If they are not selfless for humans, I'm not saying they're going to pay for everybody, but if they're not thinking of other people before themselves, they're going to be selfish with you.
Yes.
So
because a lot of times we do all of those right things when we're at a certain level of relationship because we know we're going to get something, we're going to get a benefit from it.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a good picture of their character.
Yes.
And honestly, like that can lead to like a level of tiredness too, because you're constantly conscious of trying to behave this way with this group, and then this way this group and that group. When if you treat everybody like you don't even like think about it, you're just mature with everybody. Like that doesn't require it. It's as like your heart pumping. Like you're not in control of that. You just do it.
Well,
it
it's
just
like
does it.
if you only hold the door open for people that you know and love, then what's the point?
Right.
Well, that's kind of actually a verse in the Bible. If you only love people that love you.
So so pay attention to how they treat their family. Pay attention how they treat their friends. Pay attention how they treat the kid that's really awkward and only eats saltines with mayonnaise. Pay attention to how they treat. Pay attention to how they treat.
Close to home there. It sounded like
it's a psych quote. Pay attention to how they treat their teachers, their coworkers, the server at the restaurant, how they talk about those people when they leave.
Yeah.
What is their actual character?
Right.
Not what is their performance. Because I can perform for my parents all day, every day. I've been doing.
You can't.
Well, they can
there.
try.
I lived with you. You cannot.
I'm not me at this point. I cannot perform for nothing. I'm sorry, but they can perform for anyone. Yeah. They can perform for you
for a certain amount of time.
Yes. So watch how they treat other people that they don't have any strings attached to.
Yeah.
And how they talk about them when they leave.
Right.
That's actually the true character. Because if you can treat a stranger well and your mama well.
Yeah. That's true.
You got a gold star.
Well, that's kind of like when you're in a relationship, though. You can't really see that necessarily. I mean, maybe in group settings.
Well, if they're your friend, I guess people skip the friend part most of the time to get to the relationship.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. That's a lot of observation for just friends. You know what I'm saying?
I suppose. But I mean, most of the time you're interested before something happens.
Maybe not. Anyway, it's true. It takes a lot of observation.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of observation. Don't be stalkers.
Don't be stalkers, but be aware.
Be observers.
You can, I mean, even a friend, if you
have binoculars, you've gone too far.
if you are tracking them on that friend app, you can do that. There's an app that tracks your friends. It's really weird.
Wait, how would that work? They need it too?
Yeah. But it's an app you talk to. I don't know. I'm old. But there's an app that you talk to your friends and you can choose to like track them. It's super creepy. Anywho, Zen.
Snapchat?
I don't know. Maybe.
You can do that on Snapchat.
Anyway.
I'm just saying, if your friends are rude to your classmates, that's not cool either. So maybe talk to them about it.
Well, yeah. That's the community part.
Yes.
But if you're looking at somebody, you should be wanting to multiply what God is doing in their life. That's really, I mean, that's what's going to happen. The Lord says, go forth and multiply, make babies. You're multiplying what God put in there.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like the end result of it. But that's the goal. You're trying to find someone you can go forth and multiply. God wants increase. That is what you're going to increase. So do you want to actually increase
what
that person's life? Do you want to increase that?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, then don't go. Don't do that. You're not wanting to invest in that. You're not wanting to actually do that. And that's the end goal of those relationships, like in a relationship. Well, and like, yeah. So
friendships.
We can't like get away from that idea. Like for me, I'm like, especially as a woman, that is something you should really think about. Do
Absolutely.
I want to increase what God put in that man's life?
Yeah.
Because that is essentially, that is
how you were biologically
that is
made.
How you are designed to do. You're
to
supposed
take
to be
the Lord, incubate it, and make it greater.
The Lord called you the helper, and the word helper is not a demeaning word. That is the same word as the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And so you are a powerful, amazing helper that is made to increase the person's capacity and power. All right. And so for young women, for women who are single, do you want to increase that person? Do you really want to help that person?
Or do you want to fix them?
Or do you want to fix them? Oh, honey.
Listen, we've all tried it. We've all tried it. It ain't gonna work. I'm sorry. You're gonna get tired. They're gonna be mean and you're gonna be upset. And then you're gonna be devastated because your heart's attached to a butt face. Okay.
I'm picturing that, and that's not a nice thing to picture.
No, you don't want. You have to be aware. You have to be self-aware.
Your heart is attached to a butt face.
That's unfortunate. Sorry to hear that.
But you have to.
No, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. Stop.
You know those buttons have labels, right?
They do? Oh. There they are, right there.
You don't have to guess.
That's appropriate on many levels.
Anyway. You do not. You have to be self-aware. Do you see potential in somebody and want to fix them to match the potential that you see?
Right.
Or do they
that you
currently already have the things that you want to increase. Not will they have the
That
things
you want to partner with. So we actually do this in all kinds of relationships, but we're actually just called to love, right? And so are you loving the person that you think they should be?
Yeah.
Or are you loving the person they actually are?
Or are you loving what they are giving you?
Yeah. So like we do this even in our Christian world. We think we see the potential God sees. And sometimes we do. But we have an interpretation of what that is and what it should be.
Yeah.
And so we love that person for that. But we're not actually loving the person for who they are and where they're at. Because we're not actually in charge of God's growth plan.
Right.
We're not able to be in charge of their growth plan. We don't have the capacity to grow them that way. We can help them. We can fight for their growth. We can partner with them and say, listen, I'm in this fight with you. But at the end of the day, you have no control over how they're going to grow. And you actually don't know God's plan. You don't know his plan fully. You don't know. You have an interpretation of what the potential you see, and you probably do see the potential God put in them, but God has a plan that he's in charge of.
Yeah.
So are you going to love that person for who they are today, not who they can be?
Yeah.
And so that is a very good point. Like
You cannot
fix them. You cannot
or shape
grow
a
them.
man into what your dream man is.
Or a woman, because guys do it too.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, as a woman,
Yeah.
I cannot decide, I want this guy, but I want his hair to be different.
Yeah.
That would come probably because if you continue a relationship with someone, they want you to be attracted to them. But you can't go into that relationship saying, I want you, but different.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
No. You actually have to really, 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 I really, 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 really like you.
Like,
You have to really like what you see and what you're experiencing right now. What are you in love with that?
can you
right
choose
now?
this for
And
the
so-
rest of your life?
Yes. And
Whether
so the class I took with my wife, Rachel, said everything that you don't really like is a fence. And some things are higher fences than others. Like for you, pugs, super high fence.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like Donald Trump, Southern Wall high, has stakes. Barbed wire thing. Like, that's like, no, you can't jump over that fence.
Oh, heck no.
You could,
So-
but it would
Not-
be bloody.
Not even me.
every one of those things that are like, oh, that's going to be hard for me to connect with you. It's a fence for connection. So how many of those are you going to jump? How many of those are you realistically wanting to jump every day for connection? Like, you could probably do it every once in a while, but if you're going to be in a relationship with these people, you have to do it daily. Like, this isn't just a bro. You can be like, hey, let's go play some video games. Let's go, shoot some hoops. Let's go camping. And then you could like peace out for 3 weeks and you're still great friends.
Yeah.
Like you
This
are
is
forever.
at least 20 hours a day.
Forever.
And like, if the thought comes to mind, like, oh, that's not realistic. Think about yourself and God, bro. How many times have you offended God today, bro?
Yes.
Today. Dude, I don't even want to count.
Right.
How many times what?
How many times have you offended God today?
Oh, offended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like getting over those things, over that for connection. Some days we don't let God get there, actually.
Dang.
Some people don't. Some people come to church and they haven't been connected with God. They have those fences up. They look super good. Listen, man, Satan loves people just to come to church. Just to come to church.
Yeah.
We satiate our feelings. We come to church to feel good.
Or read your Bible.
And we did the thing.
Do it to
And
check
now
it
I
off.
feel good, but you didn't actually feel transformation. You didn't actually get connection with the Lord.
That's right.
You just felt good that you put a little check on the box.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You let the music be like, ooh la la.
Yeah. Which is another thing you should really look for in a relationship. If you love the Lord, which you should, because you're listening to a Coram Deo podcast, which means that we want to live under the authority for the glory and in the power of the Lord, which means in every part of our life. So if you're listening to the podcast, that's the goal. So you should be looking for the potential in a person. Do they love the Lord? Are they open to the Lord? Do they worship?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta listen. You gotta find a worshiper, because that's what you're gonna do for your entire life. You're gonna worship the Lord.
Yes.
If they hecka awkward worshiping, and they're gonna make you awkward, and they're not gonna push you further into worship, that's a big no. If they don't have a good relationship with the Word of God, if they're not striving to be in the Word of God, yes, I said it, striving to be in the Word of God and know what the actual Bible says. Like if they're biblically illiterate, they don't even know the principles. They don't even know what Jesus said. They don't even know the books of the Bible. Big red flag.
You know it's a red flag.
Because you know what? You're part of Coram Deo community. You're part of Coram Deo youth. This is what we're called to do. We're called to be knowers of His Word. We're called to be worshipers. We're called to live under the authority for the glory and in the power of God. So those are pretty important things. Listen, you ain't gonna save this kid either. You're not gonna bring him to youth group. I've seen it. We've all seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I've been a youth pastor only for 2 years, and I've seen it, and it doesn't work. It works the opposite way. So listen to me, pretty little girl who flaunts it a little too much, and you should wear longer things. You ain't gonna save it. You ain't gonna save this poor little child, child.
Boy.
Don't
even
because you brought him to youth group. You're not doing it. Because honestly, if that is your mentality, you don't know the Lord enough anyway.
Listen, missionary dating
Doesn't work. And that goes to super attractive, handsome, sexy Christian guy who's like, oh, I'm all about the Lord and I look really good, and you bring a different girl every couple weeks. Bro, you're not it. You're not doing it right. You're not going to save this girl. You're damaging this girl. You are damaging this girl and her view on the gospel. Stop it. You make me sick, actually. Like, you need to stop. Where are your parents?
Missionary dating just doesn't work, guys.
Doesn't work.
It's the same thing. You're trying to fix somebody.
And you're actually trying to
manipulate
You're
them.
trying to get a need met from the wrong source.
And you're not only trying to get a need met,
But you're trying to
you're manipulating them into getting that need met and looking good for it.
Yes. Yeah.
That ain't right.
So I said this to the kids as well. If you're going to give yourself away to a boy so quickly, then you have not gotten intimacy and love and affection from your father. If you're willing to give yourself away to a girl quickly, you are actually needing intimacy and affection from your mother.
Yep.
And this is the problem.
That's all back to the self-awareness thing, which I think I wrote that down, like, know your needs after you were talking about the texting thing.
Yes.
Because if you're texting someone into the night, you are craving attention from you're craving attention. Attention,
affection, and companionship.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could do that in real life with the people with the people God put you with.
Yes. And I feel like, because you talked about hormones.
Yes.
A lot of times when we're attracted to people or trying to get a need met with people, we don't push this very much anymore, but perhaps exercise.
Yes.
Actually, life-changing.
Very life-changing on many levels because
the endorphins that you're getting from that text message or that swipey swipe.
Virtual connection.
The virtual connection.
Cocaine, actually. Like,
guess
no,
what?
that's like
absolutely
scientific.
That's what they call it. You can get from walking a mile, literally just walking.
Yeah.
So look at what your life looks like. Are you sitting down? I'm not saying this is bad, because a lot of like our situations are forced like this. Are you sitting down most of the time?
Yep. Like I said,
Are
most
you
of the time
feeding
you're bored when
your
you're
body?
when you're just bored.
So here's can I geek out a little bit here? No,
I don't know. Can you?
I totally can. Do I have permission?
Do you need permission to be a geek? I feel like you already are a geek. It doesn't matter. I don't.
Anyway, so
I don't have that
here's
much power
the thing.
over you.
Endorphins, right? Happy hormones. If you didn't know what those were.
Endorphins.
Endorphins. Now I can see a door with fins. Anyway, endorphins. They're the happy hormones. There's 4 of them.
Happy hormones.
So
T-shirt.
all of your happy hormones start in your gut. If you are feeding yourself Cheetos and hamburgers from McDonald's and you don't eat anything else, and that's like your normal diet, you have to go outside of your own self, like your own system, to get those hormone boosts because your gut is not producing them. So truly know your needs. I know it's annoying to hear people say, watch what you eat healthy. It's annoying because it's true, okay? It's annoying because it's true. I'm not saying you can never have the McDonald's hamburger. I would suggest never doing that because have you read the ingredient list? Ew. But if that's something you're eating weekly, if that's something you're eating daily, probably look at what you're looking at or eating. Because the reason you're having to go to people, the reason you're having to go to the internet, the reason that you're having to do all these other things,
Right.
could be partially that you're malnourished.
Well, and it's easy and convenient. So
Yeah.
like all of our life is mostly easy and convenient, and it's more convenient that I get to sit here and get this need met.
Mm-hmm. Then
And I can leave it
for a
whenever
walk,
I want.
lift heavy weights.
Yeah. Or even go into the next room and actually try to connect to my mother
Yeah.
or my father.
Yeah.
Or to my siblings,
Mm-hmm.
and actually work on that real relationship, not a virtual one. Because the part of the problem is that virtual connection can only
Happens on
go
my terms.
so much, and it only goes so far.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that you actually need more quantity
Yeah.
to get the same level of connection that you could get in real life with quality. And it's less work, and it's more convenient, and I could just keep scrolling, keep texting, keep scrolling, keep texting, and I don't actually have to do a whole lot of work for it. I don't even have to open my mouth. I can just use my thumbs, and it's super. Nobody can call me out on anything. I could show people who I really want to believe that I am. I can create a fake self, and nobody can call me out on it. And so it's a terrible substitute that increasingly requires more and more and more of your time.
Yeah.
And more time for those same endorphins.
Yes.
And more like pushing the
It is
envelope.
totally cocaine.
And more like getting rid of boundaries.
Yeah.
Getting rid of those things that we actually know are a good idea. But because it's only so far that you can actually feel connected, you have to keep breaking those rules and breaking
Yes.
those boundaries. So eventually you're sending nude pictures, and eventually you're doing all these kind of crazy things, sending weird videos, sending all these promiscuous things, and getting into pornography because it's not real connection.
Yeah.
It's not actually meeting those core needs that every human being has. And instead of being like, okay, the Lord, this is the family the Lord gave me.
Yeah.
These are the friends that I have in my life. Oh, well, they're not available right now. Yeah, because it's 10 o'clock. Go to sleep.
Yes. So
if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling that lonely right now,
you're probably tired.
you could be tired. You could be all kinds of things could be going on. Or you know what? Maybe you actually need to seek the Lord right now. That level of loneliness,
Nobody can
fix that. Nobody can fix that. Nobody can fix that need. If you are constantly in need of communication with somebody, if you're
Yes.
constantly in need for connection with somebody, I think your soul, your spirit is needing the Lord.
Yes.
And so yeah, you know what? It's 10 o'clock. It's 10:30. You don't need to be talking to anybody else, actually. If nobody's available, talk to the Lord.
Even if
See
they
what he
are
has to say.
available, would you have someone over, like you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Would you have a friend over at 11:30 at night
No.
to talk? No. 10 o'clock is even pushing it for me. You know, like
Right. But you know who you could talk to if they're awake?
your family.
Your family.
Or even, so I'm saying, like, even if your friends are available at 10 o'clock at night to talk, you had all day to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe choose the Lord.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the food, the exercise, the talking to the Lord, you can't have healthy relationships with other people until you have a healthy relationship with yourself.
And the Lord. So those things are very important. Like we say,
They're the building
you watch
blocks.
those things.
They're
but
building
yeah,
blocks.
like if you don't have a healthy lifestyle, already, you're adding stress of another person to that unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so now that pressure
They talked about
is going to increase, and it's going to be harder and harder to handle your life and now their life and their feelings and their emotions.
Yeah.
And so
they talked
most
about
of the
cracks
time,
in the foundation.
yeah. And most of the time, unhealthy people are going to attract unhealthy people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Healthy people are going to attract healthy people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was younger, I was, a lot of people were like, oh, I want this kind of girl with this kind of body and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on myself. I want somebody who's healthy. So I was actually I still am. I don't get to do it as much as I would like to, but I'm still into like fitness. Honestly, looking good, feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like, it's great for my confidence. It's great for my health.
It's
great for
everything.
For my capacity for
Yes.
those things. It gives me more energy, all those things. So I was like, I want to look good and I want to feel healthy. And I can't expect that of somebody that I'm not doing for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put in the effort right now. I'm going to put that into my life. So we have to have that expectation of ourselves before we have that for an expectation for somebody else. Because when we have that expectation of somebody else, we are actually in a way wanting them to fix us.
Yeah. Well, that's the good or bad company corrupts
Good character.
good character. So I've experienced it. If your person or your people,
Yeah.
Even like with food allergies, if they don't consider
Yeah.
that you cannot eat this and there's no other options,
Yeah.
this is going to corrupt your health.
Yes.
Okay? Like, so even like just that, but like take that consideration. Like, okay, I want to be a healthy person, so I eat this way.
Yeah.
I don't go eat out like every week because I want to be healthy, or I only go to this type of restaurant because it has healthy options. The person that you decide to partner your life with eats at McDonald's twice a day.
Wow.
At some
That's
point,
intense.
That's rough.
at some point,
He's going to only be able to be on the toilet.
well, first of all, there's a lot of red flags in the decision that you made to partner yourself with this person.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
at some point, that person is going to influence the way that you are treating your own body.
Yes.
And so that's why I say, like, know your needs.
And how to communicate your needs. And that goes back to your relationship with your parents,
Yeah.
your siblings. Like, are you able to communicate what's going on in you? Are you able to know what's going on in you and say that and have a relationship where they can talk about that in a healthy way
Yeah.
and be able to work on it with each other? And so, I mean, honestly, most people don't have that
Mm-hmm.
at all. And
They don't even know how.
they don't know how. And so this is a call out for all of us to get to there
Yep.
and then teach our kids how to do that. Because when you can teach your kids how to do that, you should be able to trust your son and daughter to have a relationship and not cross lines that you don't want them to cross. Because it's not just your expectation at that point, it's also their expectation.
Yeah.
And they have there's that mutual trust there, and that relationship is good and it's healthy, and it's that no one wants to disappoint or hurt the other person. And so, like I said before, like it's not an age, it's a relational maturity level. So,
I mean, there's a ton of married people that aren't mature enough to be married, but they are.
right.
So, like,
But it causes lots of issues.
yes. So it's like if you're in like, so if you're a teenager, don't do that.
Yes.
Like, don't choose that for your life. You
Don't
don't have,
choose that.
if your parents don't, if you look at your parents after this and think, wow, I don't think they're actually mature enough to be married, then don't choose that for your life.
Yeah.
Go get healing. Go
Yeah.
get some influence that is
Yeah.
going to push you towards choosing healthy options, and don't continue that path. Like
Right.
that's there.
But don't neglect that relationship with your parents either.
No,
Because like I
They
see
do
this,
have,
I see this pattern. Like, well, it's like teenagers. They think that all of us when we were teenagers thought we were so much better
we're
than our
so
parents.
smart.
And then you get older and you're like, wow,
Wow,
I was
Mom,
really
the way that you
stupid.
folded those is, you're right.
Yeah. And then you realize actually you're just becoming more and more like your parents, regardless of your decisions, because it's just how it is.
Yeah.
But like they may not have everything that you need,
They have
but
some
they
of
have
it.
a lot of what you need, and
Yeah.
they have a lot of history of who you are. They know who you are.
They probably,
they
you have a
actually-
lot of things in you that because of them.
Yes.
And they know what it took for them
yes.
to become healthier.
And they love you like nobody else ever will. And so they may not have the relational capacity for this, but they have a lot of things that they should know about, and that like you should be open and honest with them, and you should be able to, it may be really, really awkward. They may need to learn, and you will need to learn, but you should work on it to the point where it actually gets to that point with them. And if they're not there, if they never get there, you should simultaneously be looking for somebody who's healthy in that way to be conversing with that.
Yeah.
Like find a pastor, find an older woman in church who's safe like that. Find an elder, find someone like that. They can start. You can start having that relationship
There's
with.
never anything wrong with having more than one person to influence you.
Unless you're going to the person you think you'll get the right answer you want from,
Yes. Yes.
which I've seen so much. You have these different voices in your life, these different mentors in your life
But you
that have access to me, that can speak into my life. But you go to different ones.
until you get the answer you
So
want.
you want, yeah, and you know these people well enough that you know that they're going to say this. So I'm going to go to them and just them and only tell them this so that I can get permission, and I'm living under authority. I'm getting mentored.
But you can ask all of your mentors the same question
And get
they
different
answers and then take those to the Lord
Yes.
and get the
Yeah.
thing that you're going to do.
Like, great example, dating Rachel, actually at this point, just going on dates. We get to the point where it's like fourth date in. Then she starts to freak out, as women do.
She didn't just start. She was freaking out the whole time.
Well, she freaked out a lot, because she knew that I was going to marry her, and she was going to marry me. She just knew, because I knew, and I was pretty upfront about. Well, not super upfront, but I was honest. Like that, I was. There's no way we're just going to be friends. She tried to friend zone me. I'm like, I don't have time for that. I have lots of friends, and
I just
I'm
wanna
attracted
say-
to you, so that's not going to work for me. But we could go on dates because we had a lot of fun, and it was great.
Don't be afraid.
You want to do that? And the rest is history. But she started freaking out because there wasn't that. She was like, oh, I don't know. So I asked my mentor at the time, like, what should I do? Like, do I keep going on dates? He's like, no, there needs to be commitment. Like, if she's not ready, then it's no. Like, you should tell her that. I was like, ooh, harsh. So, but then I went to her pastor.
Mm.
And he knew about the situation pretty well. Because almost no one asks anybody out. So it was kind of like this anomaly.
It was all over the 900 students.
Yeah.
Everybody knew.
And so I asked him, like, what should I do? And he's like, I would honestly phrase it as an invitation. Like, don't make it like this, like, ultimatum.
Mm-hmm.
Just like be like, hey, I'm ready for this. Are you ready for this? And I think that'll go well. But if you make it like this ultimatum thing, she's just going to shut down. And I was like, well, he's her pastor. So he probably knows her a little bit better than my mentor. My mentor is not wrong. Like, that's really what needs to happen. Like, there needs to be commitment at this point. You're either ready or you're not ready. But I was like, it's wisdom to go with the guy who knows her better.
They said the same thing, just a different angle.
Yes. And so then I phrased it that way. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm completely ready to call this a relationship. Like, I don't know why you're freaking out. I think you're worth it. You're amazing. If you're not ready for it, that's cool. Like, we can go on a few more dates if you want. If not, if you're done, that's fine. But I think it's pretty obvious. So anyway, now we're married and have 2 kids. But the point being, you have to have it's really important to have different perspectives, because if I just went with what my mentor said, I don't know if that would have went the same way. Because if you know my wife, she does not like ultimatums, and she doesn't like.
She needs 6 to 8 months to
start a new.
I'm just teasing.
TV series is a whole
she
thing,
needs
because it's
multiple
a commitment.
Weeks
it's a commitment
ahead of time.
Commitments. So
you have to give her time for her to convince herself it was her decision.
Yes, actually, yeah. Like, that's how she works. She
Yeah.
needs to think about all of these things. Drives me crazy because I'm the opposite.
Yeah,
I
feel like there's 2 types of
first
people.
date. I knew, I was like, she's the one. I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, so there's always there's
like
2 types of people generally. The person that's like, I think I should do this thing. Okay, I'm gonna go do it. And then there's this person. I think I should do this thing. Let me look at everything that could go wrong. Let me look at everything that could go right. Let me plan the day that I'm gonna do it. All right, it's 6 weeks out, and those 2 people always marry each other.
And my personality is like, I'll just try one, the first one that comes to mind, and if it doesn't work, I'll try another one. But why are we sitting around? This is crazy.
That's true.
Anyway, but there's balance to that.
There is.
Anyway, so multiple voices, all of that. All that to say that you need these checklists. You need all of these things. You need self-awareness. You need community. You need the presence of the Lord. You need a relationship with the Lord first before any other. If those things aren't in line, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, your siblings, your community, if you're not in community, if you don't have a job, if you don't have money, you ain't ready. You're just not there. You're not at the relational or maturity level that is required to hold that kind of capacity of a relationship.
And that's not actually a negative thing. This is your journey. This is your life. You get to be with Jesus.
That is important.
Alone, single for another season. That's beautiful.
And that's important. You need to have a desire for your own story, the story that God's writing for you.
Yes.
Because you can compare all of these people. I used to compare myself to my brother, one of my biggest heroes. We obviously grew up together, doing stuff together. But when you're comparing somebody else's story to yours, it's a lose-lose situation because I'm not my brother. I'm not gifted like my brother. We have similarities, tons of similarities.
Different callings.
But yeah, different callings. They're similar, but they're different.
Yeah.
They have different outcomes. And so when you're comparing love stories or whatever, and you want your love story to look like this, that's going to be exhausting and no one's ever going to win.
Yeah.
This guy that you are putting up against this fantasy love story that's unrealistic, that like your Princess Diaries fantasy is
I'm sorry, Genovia is not real, honey.
It's not real. It's never going to happen. You're not going to one day wake up royalty and like...
And ruling a country.
Praise
Praise God, because that's a lot of pressure.
You know what? The guy who's in the garage band, he was great. What happened to him, huh?
I know.
What happened to him?
He was great.
He was awesome.
He was so nice.
He was really cool.
Talk about character, you know?
Yeah.
Quality.
Except
for the whole M&Ms on pizza. That's just weird.
Well, that was, but everyone's got a little bit of quirkiness, you know?
Yeah.
But that's something you would have to jump
that was my fence. It's a pretty low fence because I just won't eat it.
Pick off the M&Ms.
You eat that. I'll eat regular person pizza.
I'll take the M&Ms off and eat them after. Easily fixed. You see, I'm here with solutions.
There we go. But like, don't compare. Like, I think in Christians, well, in the whole world, it's like you're not whole until you find someone else to make you whole. Listen, single life is bliss. I'm telling you, I watch all these married people have communication 24/7. I cannot.
What?
24/7. All the freaking time.
That doesn't exist. That's too much.
Listen, there's so much
all
freedom.
The time, including an hour in the future.
That's true for women, okay?
Okay.
But there's so much beauty in the fact that you're allowed as a single person
to do whatever you want.
To spend you can dedicate 6 hours of your day to the Lord, and nobody else is going to be upset about that.
Well, you don't have any other responsibilities that are pulling at you.
You don't have any other deep relational responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I can tell you, I'm single. It's amazing. You get to do...
I go to sleep alone every night. It's fantastic. It's the best.
You can do...
Now go read a book.
Yes, you can read. You can spend this is a good time to invest in things that you love to do. Mm-hmm. If you want to work out 3 times a day, you can. If you want to go take 5 vacations a year, you can, because that's kind of
I don't think so.
Decision that...
I mean, you'd have a lot of money and a lot of...
But you
what
can.
What do you do? Because I'll take one of your vacations and the money for it.
But I'm just saying, you have the commodity of time. You have the commodity of your own money that you can actually choose, okay, I'm going to skip this and this so I can have this. And you don't have to check with anyone.
Yeah, you could buy all the guns you want.
Buy all the guns you want. Girls, go get those highlights. You know those cost you an arm and a leg.
Whoa. How many highlights can you get? You only have 2 arms and 2 legs. How many?
Hey, at least we have the right to bear arms. I got so many bare arms in the closet right now. It's crazy.
A financial arm and a leg. I'm just saying, we, it's so easy. Bare arms.
Now we got these girls who have bare arms because they found a man with bare arms
and
they have highlights and just bare arms and bare arms for arms and bare arms for legs. Oh my God! Because they got highlights twice in their life. They can't get any more highlights.
Anyway,
oh man,
I'm just saying it's super easy to get into the funk of, I just wish I would be married by now. I just wish I would be in a relationship by now.
Yeah.
Even if you're not comparing to anyone else, take the opportunity, invest in what you love.
Yeah.
figure out what you love. You might not even know that you are called to a certain thing. You might not know that you're interested in nutrition or geeking out about comic books. You have no idea. Take the time.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point, because it's like a lot of people wait to live their life until they're in a relationship, because like they want to save all of these things for it. It's like, that's not, what's attractive if somebody actually living a really full life, the life that the Lord is calling them to live.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't wait until you're married to start living the life God called you to.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's really important, and I think a lot of people do that.
And I mean, like, especially in high school and younger, even early 20s, I'm like, y'all have so much to do already.
Yeah.
Like, not only are you emotionally not ready, you don't honestly have time. You don't have the time to invest in another person.
You don't have the relational capacity or the maturity. That's what we're talking about.
So
enjoy the fact that you don't have to do those things.
Yeah.
Get your work life figured out. Get your finances figured out.
Get your school done.
Get your school done. Have good, healthy relationships first. Get really deep with the Lord. And, when you have those things like going pretty well, you figured those things out, you're working, you're never going to be perfect.
No.
But as long as those things are like actually working well, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can be like, you know what? I think I'm ready for this. You could talk to your mentors, your parents, your friends, like, hey, I think I'm going to ask this girl out. What do you think? Yeah, she seems like a great fit. If they're like, what?
That's
No, dude.
W-A-U-T. What?
No, she doesn't love the Lord, and she's dressing like that, and like she's really into football, and you want to go be a missionary in Africa. Like, you have not, like, she's not going to be about that. Where is that going to make sense?
Right.
So that's kind of how that should look like in an ideal situation. Again, doesn't have to do with age. There's not a magical age where you're ready for a relationship. Obviously, probably, safe to bet, never at 11.
I think I agree with you there.
Safe to bet, probably not 14. You know why? You can't
You're not
drive.
Chris Valentin?
You're not going to have a car. So
Yeah.
just those alone disqualify you.
Yes.
So
I cannot tell you how grateful I am to the Lord that I did not get what I wanted when I was 18.
yep.
I can't. Do you know that would have just been okay?
Terrible.
Even if I did get my dream of being married, I had no skills, man. I didn't even know it was okay to have needs. I'm not even kidding. Did I know that I needed anything? Just ice cream. That's all I needed. That's all I knew. Like that, you guys just be grateful of your time and your story and where you're going and what the Lord has for you. And the right time will come, and you can partner with Him for that right time. And that looks like everything we just explained.
Yes.
Don't
So
isolate
listen to this
yourself.
podcast multiple times.
Yes.
Throughout your life.
Yes. And when you're focusing on getting yourself right, that does not mean isolate yourself from friendships with the opposite sex. That's not what we were talking about.
No.
Be a normal human. Talk to people.
Please talk to people.
Stop. Be a normal human. Talk to people.
That should be on a t-shirt.
With Michael Jordan.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's going to wrap up this purity series. Again, super highly recommend.
Super
40-day journey
Super
to
good.
purity, and also a book
Convicted
called Moral
me
Revolution.
today. So, super good.
And you do not have to be a teenager. Honestly, you could be like 50.
Uh-huh.
Does your purity just end up like stopping
When you get married,
when you get
do
married?
you have to keep
and
continuing
when
being
you're
pure?
like 70?
Yes.
You know what? There's some nasty
Sketchy, man.
stories of some old people listen, purity is a forever journey. So it doesn't stop at 40 days either. So
And it doesn't stop when you get married.
it doesn't stop when you get married. So
It does
let's
increase.
pray. Hey, if you want more on this subject, we're going to take a break because honestly,
I mean, you could
It gets
totally
pretty
look up
tiresome.
Moral Revolution
but
on
totally,
YouTube.
yes, there's so many resources. There's a lot of better voices who've been talking about this for
I
a
have
lot longer.
way more experience.
Way more experience of it. And Moral Revolution is probably one of the best resources for it, hands down, on earth. I don't know a lot of places that talk about this stuff in a more constructive, healthy way. So highly, highly recommend you follow that. You read Moral Revolution and you get your hands on that. There's also tons of courses with different things, even on how to date well. So if you want to explore this and you're a teenager and you think you're ready and you have all those things checked, which I highly doubt, but you know what? You could come introduce yourself to me and I could be shocked maybe. I don't know.
Shook.
Doubt it. But get those courses, how to date well, how to up your game dating, when are you ready? All kinds of things like that. So thank you for taking this journey with us. Comment on things that you want us to talk more about, what you enjoyed. We'd love the feedback. So like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. We do have a spot where if you wish to donate,
There's a link in the description box.
There's a link in the description box. You can donate because you know what? Philip doesn't get paid enough at all. Actually, he doesn't get paid. But all of this stuff takes time and equipment, and we would love for our ministry to be able to prosper in that way. Absolutely no guilt or shame or condemnation if you can't, or if you don't feel like it. If you think we get paid way too much, well, that's because you don't know we get paid.
Or where we live.
Or where we live. So, donate
ya.
if you want. I'm going to pray us out. And thanks for coming along. It's been a wild ride. Welcome to the jungle. That's a very bad song.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know pastors knew that song.
All right, Jesus, thank you for purity. Thank you for relationships, and that you have created all of these things. You've created sexuality. You've created gender. You've created our capacity for relationship. You've created all of these things. And I just pray, Lord, that you teach us more and more how to do this well. You teach us to be in community. You teach us to have these open and honest relationships. You teach us how to be vulnerable, and you equip us for these things. And you increase our capacity for healthy, deep, connected relationships. Including marriage, and including girlfriend, boyfriend, including friendships and family in general, Lord, that you would teach us how to be deeply rooted in community and relationship with each other. In Jesus' name, amen.
Bye.
Boom, boom, fast. Boom, fast. Oh, yeah. Boom, fast. Oh, I just saw a man in the window. Ah! Why is it stuck up there? Boom, fast. I think the class got done, and they're like, boom, fast. Who's still here? Why is it stuck up there? Yeah, he shut the light off. He's like, there's a person. I think they turned it back on. It's an individual. Yeah, it's at work. Benefits, Maplewood meats, quality. I mean, we don't actually make the bread. We get it from the place. We would love to be sponsored by Maplewood Meats. Black Rifle, please sponsor me. I drink coffee. Hey, actually, I've converted so many people to Black Rifle. Listen. Right there. I've clicked with people. I've clicked with people at work. I see them walking. I'm like, what's your brand? And what's your blend? And then they tell me. What's your brand? What's your brand? I obviously see it's Black Rifle Coffee. But I converted my father-in-law. I converted my father. I converted my sister. I converted Philip. I converted Scott. And some rando teenage boys that went camping with you. Oh, yeah. They were like, I've never had such great coffee. I love this. And I wish I could relive that moment. It was a pretty magical moment. It was. I mean, I've had that particular coffee before, and I mean, it's always really good, but that one was like really good. That was like super good coffee. Yep. Super good coffee. Super good coffee. Listen, Black Rifle, we're just some coffee-loving Christians up in Pulaski, Wisconsin. Okay, we will wear your merch pretty much every day. I will get it tattooed on my face. We will buy almost every mug that you ever put out, and we will drink your coffee like it's a lifeline. Like it's water. And I think the proper way would have been like it's like Black Rifle coffee. We will drink your coffee like it's water. You can't drink it like it's a lifeline because you don't drink lifeline. Like if Jesus came today, like he wasn't there back then, he's now. He would turn water into Black Rifle coffee. Yeah, that's true. And then he would change the wine to Black Rifle coffee. Mostly we're already doing the job for you. So if you give us a code or something, say cranberries in the comments. Use the code. Cranberries is the code. You don't have to email us. You just say cranberries. You know we're in. The next video you put out, if you could just include the word cranberries. Hashtag cranberries. Hashtag Coram Deo. Coram Deo podcast with 50 views. Cranberries. Going back, I wanted to say this. Cranberries. Then we moved on. All right. Cranberries. When we were talking about cranberries, the individual not knowing God, I wanted to throw psych in there. Say like Genesis, Leviticus, Leviathan. Leviathan. Yeah, Leviathan. Genesis, Exodus, Leviathan. Do the right thing. How do we even read the Bible? Biblical illiteracy is a big problem. You didn't get that quote that I got it. Okay. It was just a funny way to put it in there. You had to do a lot of work to slip in mayonnaise with saltines. Well, no, it just popped out of my head. I didn't have to work at all. I didn't even have to think about it. It just popped in my head. Oh, it's a pop-up. I didn't have to use any strength. I was just... There it is. Oh, my gosh. Wow. It's true. I don't whoop very much anymore, but when I do, there it is. I loved that one so much. The guy was so serious. He's pensively looking out the window. Do you guys want to hear a paper joke? Absolutely. It's terrible. Oh. It took a couple seconds, didn't it? He's like, oh. As he says the word oh, he gets what he was saying. So dumb. Alright, I gotta go home. I gotta watch Mandalorian. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm gonna go get. Oh my gosh! I have to go eat. I think I'm gonna go get burgers and then we're gonna go watch Mandalorian. Wait, Rachel.
Advocate.
All right.